Told me, let's see, we picked him on Saturday, right? Friday night driving home, y'all are going to pick Shedeur. I would say that's not happening. But we had a conversation early that morning, and then we had a conversation later that day. I think we had the right people involved in the conversation. At the end of the day, that's Andrew Berry's call. Andrew made the call to pick Shedeur.
Did the Cleveland Browns draft Shedeur Sanders just to sabotage him? That might sound extreme until you hear what NFL insiders are saying. Jason Lloyd believes the Browns traded up not to develop Shedeur, but to send a message to the Sanders family. Stephen A. Smith says the move was personal, a calculated shot aimed squarely at Deion Sanders. And Louis Riddick? He's furious, calling the situation an outright disgrace. Shedeur was once a projected first-round talent. Yet somehow, he fell all the way to the 5th. He's now buried on the depth chart, getting just 4 reps a day, while lesser-known QBs like Dylan Gabriel get priority. Browns owner Jimmy Haslam didn't even want him. He said it on record, twice. But this controversy isn't just about football anymore. It's about control, ego, and what some are calling one of the pettiest front office moves in recent NFL memory.
He could be speaking to the city of Cleveland as if to say, don't blame me for this one. That is the man that gave Deshaun Watson guaranteed $230 million, which right now is going down as arguably the worst trade in NFL.
Why would a team ignore a quarterback with Shedeur's arm, intelligence, and legacy? Is this sabotage? A smokescreen? Or something deeper and darker? Because if this truly is a message to Deion Sanders, then the Browns might have just started a war they can't win. No one expected Shedeur Sanders to fall that far. Not with his numbers, not with his poise, not with the spotlight he's carried for years. But on draft day, he kept slitting. 2nd round, 3rd, 4th, until finally, on Saturday, the Browns picked him in the
ton of snaps in this preseason, and let's see what he can do. But the idea that they're trying to sabotage him is so stupid that I just can't even, I'm just done. I can't even wrap my head around it. And to try and to manipulate what he said into some idea that he didn't want, or that they didn't want.
Because they believed in Shedeur's talent. They did it as a statement, a message, not to the league, but to Deion Sanders. Lloyd claims some inside the organization were fed up with the primetime noise and saw an opportunity to humble it. Think about that. A front office using a draft pick, a young player's future to prove a point. That's where the word sabotage started gaining traction. And that's just the beginning. The moment Browns owner Jimmy Haslam opened his mouth, the story shifted. Instead of backing his new rookie quarterback, Haslam made headlines by saying he didn't even think about drafting Shedeur until the very last minute. Twice, he downplayed the decision. Twice, he distanced himself from it. And NFL insiders weren't buying it. Stephen A. Smith tore into Haslam for what he called a cowardly move, publicly washing his hands of a draft pick the second it sparked controversy.
I don't eat. Like, what kind of long jump Carl Lewis leap are we making here? They traded up to wreck his career. That's how diabolical the Browns are. They traded up so that they could say, screw the Sanders family. We're going to show him. Yeah, we're going to run a ball into the ground. What he's very clearly saying for anybody with a lick of common sense is when they left the building Friday night, when he kept falling and kept falling and kept falling on Saturday, regardless of whose decision it was to move up to get him, as an organization, they made the decision to move up to get him, not because they're trying to tank this poor kid's career, because they have a job open at quarterback.
According to Jason Lloyd, a respected Cleveland reporter, the organization didn't move up Smith, didn't mince words. He accused Haslam of trying to shield himself from backlash, especially after the disastrous $230 million deal for Deshaun Watson, a decision still halting the franchise. But that wasn't the only concern. According to critics, Haslam wasn't just avoiding accountability, he was actively undermining Shedeur, downplaying the pick, suggesting it wasn't his idea, refusing to show public support.
And to try and to manipulate what he said into some idea that he didn't want, or that didn't want him. Like, I just don't understand how you can make that. I would love someone to logically explain it to me.
In one of the boldest statements yet, Lloyd accused the Browns front office of actively sabotaging Shedeur Sanders. Not because of talent, not because of system fit, but because of egos and agendas. He questioned everything from Shedeur's lack of reps to Jimmy Haslam's dismissive remarks, and painted a picture of a franchise more interested in narrative control than developing a future star. Lloyd emphasized that Shedeur has done everything right. He's shown up early, he's taken extra reps, he's handled interviews like a pro, and yet every sign points to the Browns pushing him down instead of building him up. His biggest point? Intent matters. Shedeur didn't get forgotten, he got buried. Lloyd said the team should be rallying behind a rookie quarterback with Shedeur's drive. Instead, they're throwing shade, making excuses, and sending mixed signals. Even worse, he accused Haslam of trying to manipulate the media, framing Shedeur as unwanted from the start.
He could be speaking to the city of Cleveland as if to say, don't blame me for this one. That is the man that gave Deshaun Watson guaranteed $230 million, which right now is going down as arguably the worst trade in NFL.
To Lloyd, this isn't mismanagement, it's malicious. And for a player just starting his career, it's the worst possible situation. Not everyone agreed that Shedeur Sanders was being sabotaged. Garrett Bush, a respected Cleveland voice, pushed back on the narrative, but even he couldn't ignore the red flags. Bush argued that talent like Shedeur's can't be held down for long. In his view, the situation might look bad, but the truth always rises. A player that sharp, that driven, would eventually break through. Sabotage? No way. Setbacks? Sure. But Bush didn't believe the Browns could fully suppress a quarterback with that much potential. Still, even as he downplayed the sabotage talk, Bush issued a clear warning to the Browns. If you keep messing this up, it's going to backfire. Hard. He pointed out what many fans already feel, that this isn't a quarterback battle based on performance. It feels personal, strategic, political.
You just told me, let's see, we picked him on Saturday, right? Friday night driving home, y'all are going to pick Shedeur. I would say that's not happening. But we had a conversation early that morning, and then we had a conversation later that day. I think we had the right people involved in the conversation. At the end of the day, that's Andrew Berry's call. Andrew made the call to pick Shedeur.
And the more the team tries to bury Shedeur, the louder the noise gets. Fans are watching. Analysts are circling. And the deeper the Browns dig this hole, the harder it'll be to climb out when Shedeur proves them wrong, which, according to Bush, is just a matter of time. Stephen A. Smith didn't hold back. He rarely does. But when it came to the Browns and Shedeur Sanders, he went nuclear. Live on air, Stephen lit into Browns owner Jimmy Haslam, calling him a coward and accusing him of making one of the most shameful, ego-driven moves in recent NFL memory. This wasn't about football anymore, Stephen said. This was personal. A power move aimed directly at Deion Sanders, with Shedeur caught in the crossfire. Smith painted the whole thing as a revenge play, not a roster decision. According to him, Haslam was desperate to protect his image after the $230 million Deshaun Watson disaster. Drafting Shedeur, downplaying him, and then watching the chaos unfold was his way of shifting the spotlight. But here's the kicker. Smith didn't just call it a bad move. He said it was intentional. That the Browns weren't just mismanaging a draft pick, they were weaponizing it. And to Stephen A., it was crystal clear. This wasn't about talent. This was about pride. They wanted to hurt Deion, so they came after his son. A damning accusation. And one that had the entire NFL world paying attention. After weeks of speculation, silence, and swirling controversy, Deion Sanders, better known as Coach Prime, finally broke his silence. And when he did, it wasn't with anger. It was with truth. In a rare emotional moment, Deion opened up about his son, his family, and the pain that comes with watching Shedeur fight battles he never should have had to face. He'll call the media's narrative a lie. The whispers about Shedeur being unprepared? False. The claims that he wasn't taking things seriously? Flat out wrong. Deion didn't just defend his son, he stood behind him with the strength of a father who knows exactly what's going on. I know my sheep, I know my son, I know what I raised. Those weren't just words, they were a direct answer to every slight, every smirk, every doubter who questioned Shedeur's work ethic and readiness. Deion said Shedeur was born for this, molded by pressure, prepared by life. But perhaps the most telling moment came when he revealed that Shedeur didn't even want him at camp. He said, "Dad, don't come. I'm only getting a few reps a day." That says everything. Louis Riddick wasn't just upset, he was visibly angry. And when a guy like Riddick, who's been in NFL war rooms, speaks out this strongly, people listen. He went straight at the Browns' narrative, calling it a complete misrepresentation of reality. While team officials tried to downplay the situation, Riddick exposed the uncomfortable truth. Shedeur Sanders was only getting 3 to 4 reps per practice. Not per session, not per hour, per day. And that's when Riddick dropped the bombshell. Shedeur didn't even want his own father to come to training camp. Why? Because he was barely playing. Because the treatment was so obviously disrespectful, it was painful to watch. Then came the question that silenced the room. Is that fair? Riddick explained that in the NFL, if you're drafted late, you need someone in the building fighting for you. Someone pounding the table saying, "This kid belongs here." But when it came to Shedeur, no one even knows who made the call. No champion, no advocate. And that silence? With the spotlight now squarely on Cleveland, the Browns' front office is facing the pressure they tried so hard to avoid. What started as whispers of favoritism and mismanagement has exploded into full-blown accusations of sabotage, and the damage control isn't working. The truth is, you can only sideline a talent like Shedeur Sanders for so long before the entire league starts paying attention. Scouts are watching, coaches are asking questions, fans are growing restless. Even national media is calling out what looks more and more like a deliberate campaign to bury a quarterback who deserves better. And the Browns, they're running out of excuses. If Shedeur was truly just a depth piece, why did they move up to draft him? If he's not ready, why is he outperforming guys getting more reps? If this isn't personal, why does everything, from the reps to the interviews to the leaked comments, feel so calculated? The Browns are now stuck. Either they give Shedeur a fair shot, or they risk blowing up their reputation, not just with players, but with the public. And once that trust is gone, there's no getting it back. What started as a quiet draft day decision has now turned into one of the most explosive controversies in the NFL. A 5th-round pick, a handful of reps, a series of strange comments from a team owner, and suddenly, the football world is asking a dangerous question. Did the Browns draft Shedeur Sanders just to bury him? From Jason Lloyd's accusations, to Garrett Bush's warnings, to Stephen A. Smith's explosive takedown, this story has spiraled into something much bigger than a quarterback battle. It's about pride, power, control, and most of all, legacy. Because when a front office seems more focused on sending messages than building winners, everyone loses. And when a young QB with elite talent is treated like a problem instead of a solution, people notice. Even Deion Sanders, in one of his most vulnerable moments, made it clear. Shedeur didn't come into this unprepared, but he did come into it unwanted. The question now isn't just about football, it's about intent. So what do you think? Is Shedeur Sanders being sabotaged, or is this just business as usual in the NFL? Let us know below. The spotlight isn't moving, and neither is the pressure.